Family, welcome back to the Royal Sussex Squad, your home for truth, perspective and protection of our Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. I want to thank each and every one of you for always showing up, always keeping the receipts, and always holding the line against the endless lies, smears and coordinated attacks aimed at two people who have done nothing but try to live their lives in dignity, service and independence. Now, today we have to talk about something fascinating that happened this week. And it might look small on the surface, but when you start peeling back the layers, the timing, the symbolism and the reactions, it becomes so much bigger. Meghan Markle, our Duchess of Sussex, dropped a new as ever Instagram post. Now, if you don't follow Meghan and Harry closely, you might think, just another brand post. But if you've been paying attention, you know Meghan doesn't do things randomly. She is intentional, she is strategic, and she is deeply aware of how the media, the monarchy, and her critics will twist and weaponize anything she does. So, let's set the scene. Meghan has been relatively quiet this month. A few Instagram posts here and there, some on her own account, some on the as ever account, her heartfelt birthday message to her husband, Prince Harry. But no big product launches, no major interviews, no sweeping campaigns. And you know what? That silence was powerful. It was intentional, because last week Harry was travelling, making important appearances, stepping into his own spotlight, and Meghan, instead of hogging the stage or competing for attention, stepped back. She gave her husband space to shine. That, family, is what real partnership looks like. Contrast that with what we've been seeing from the other side of the pond. Prince William and Kate, always desperate, always clawing for attention, always trying to control the narrative, were out here looking like amateurs, stumbling over their own PR campaigns. The desperation was showing. Meanwhile, Meghan, calm, composed, radiant in her silence, and then as Harry comes back home, Meghan gives us just the softest, gentlest little update. A post on as ever's Instagram. She's in her garden in Montecito, surrounded by greenery and light. You can't even see her face, and yet she still commands attention. That's power, that's presence, that's cultural relevance. She doesn't need to scream, she doesn't need to dance for the cameras. Meghan just quietly posts from her sanctuary, and the world stops to notice. But let's talk about the timing, because it wasn't just any day. This was the very same day that Donald Trump was making his big state visit to the UK. That's right. The cameras were glued to Buckingham Palace, following King Charles, Queen Camilla, Prince William and Kate Middleton as they tried their hardest to dazzle and impress Trump. Hours of coverage of stiff waves, forced smiles, and the grotesque spectacle of a royal family bending over backwards for a man whose record on women, minorities and democracy is an international embarrassment. And in the middle of all that noise, Meghan Markle drops her quiet, peaceful post. No words needed, just Meghan in her garden, far away from that toxic circus. Was it deliberate? Was it a message? To me, the answer is yes. And the message was crystal clear. Thank God I am not part of that anymore. Family, let's pause here, because do you see the brilliance? Meghan didn't have to mention Trump. She didn't have to mention Charles, Camilla, William or Kate. She didn't even have to show her face. And yet her one little post managed to pull the spotlight away from a multi-million-dollar state spectacle and remind us all that freedom, peace and authenticity are worth more than hollow crowns and fake smiles. That's why the British press hate her. That's why they can't stop talking about her even when she's silent. Because she makes them irrelevant without even trying. Now, while Meghan was quietly owning the narrative from California, another important voice came into the picture. Ted Sarandos, the CEO of Netflix. He sat down with Emma Grede on her Aspire podcast. And when Meghan's name came up, let me tell you, he didn't hesitate. He stood 10 toes down for her. He made it clear that he sees Meghan's power, her cultural influence, her ability to shape conversations and trends. He knows what the British media refuses to admit. Meghan Markle is one of the most relevant, magnetic and influential women alive today. Think about that. Netflix is one of the biggest platforms in the world. Ted Sarandos doesn't throw compliments around for nothing. He has the data, the metrics, the receipts, And he knows that Meghan is a global icon who brings in eyes, attention and engagement. The very things her haters claim she doesn't have, she has in abundance. And people in positions of real power, not the tabloids, not the rota clowns, but people who actually move culture and money, they know it. Now, family, let's not forget Emma Grede, who interviewed Meghan months ago on the very same podcast. Emma is a powerhouse in her own right, a black British businesswoman who's built an empire and understands what it means to defy the odds. And here she is, platforming Meghan, highlighting her voice, and then circling back with Ted Sarandos, who reaffirms Meghan's impact. That's what support looks like. That's what solidarity looks like. Meanwhile, what do the British press do? They write their nasty little columns about Meghan's irrelevance. They call her projects flops. They spin conspiracy theories about empty shelves on ShopMy. They mock her every move. And yet, while they're stuck in their tabloid bubble, the real decision-makers, the CEOs, the business leaders, the cultural shapers, they're all saying the same thing. Meghan matters. Meghan sells, Meghan resonates, Meghan leads, and let's be honest, family, that's why the attacks are so vicious. That's why the smear campaign never stops, because Meghan exposes the lies. She embodies the truth. She represents everything the monarchy pretends to stand for, but fails to deliver. Modernity, compassion, diversity, service, and relevance. And Harry, by choosing Meghan, by standing with her, has shown the world that he will not be trapped in that institution's hypocrisy. That's why they try so hard to drag him down too. So when Meghan posts in her garden while Trump is being paraded through London, it's not just an Instagram update, it's a masterclass in timing, symbolism and power. It's Meghan reminding us that freedom is the ultimate luxury, that peace of mind is priceless, and that sometimes the softest voice is the loudest. Family. I want to close by saying this. Meghan and Harry do not need the monarchy. They do not need the tabloids. They do not need approval from institutions that have shown them nothing but cruelty. They have each other. They have their children. They have their peace. And they have millions of us. People who see them, support them, and celebrate them. And that's why we gather here at Royal Sussex Squad, to cut through the noise, to lift up the truth, and to remind the world that no matter how hard the haters try, Harry and Meghan are thriving. Duchess Meghan dropped a new as ever IG post on Wednesday. Interesting timing. The Duchess of Sussex has been pretty quiet this month, right? Some Instagram posts on her own account and as ever's account, a birthday post for her husband. And that's about it. No big announcements about As Ever or With Love, Meghan or even her ShopMy account, which is still mysteriously empty. My guess is that she was quiet on purpose during her husband's travels last week because she rightly wanted him to have all of the attention. Plus, her absence from the narrative highlighted the desperado act from Prince William and Kate Dott. But now that Harry's home, Meghan decided to give us a tiny little As Ever update. It was just a new IG post with Meghan in her garden in Montecito. You can't even see her face. My question: was this timed specifically for the show that is the Trump state visit to the UK? The IG post dropped around 3 p.m. on the East Coast, noon on the West Coast, meaning hours of coverage of Camilla, Charles, Will and Waity, all of whom were doing the most for the Trump visit. Is it supposed to be a message? Something like, "Thank God I'm not part of that anymore. What else?" Meghan was mentioned in a new Ted Sarandos interview. Sarandos chatted with Emma Grede's Aspire podcast, and Meghan famously spoke to Grede on that pod months ago. You can see the full Aspire video here. Sarandos once again stands 10 toes down for Meghan in particular, and you can tell that he believes, correctly, that Meghan has huge cultural relevance and cultural cachet. If nothing else, watching Emma Grede's podcast episode with Ted Sarandos of Netflix, and she asked him about Meghan's business, As Ever, and Netflix along with the consumer business for Netflix. Shout out to Ted for always shouting out Meghan and Harry. So if you value this space, if you love what we're building together, please hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, and don't forget to tap that super thanks to support the channel. Every like, every share, every donation helps us keep the spotlight where it belongs on the Sussexes and their incredible journey. Thank you, family. Stay blessed, stay unbothered, and remember, the Sussexes always win.